Finally, we get a Wolverine and War Machine team-up movie. Kinda. Prisoners. Prisoners stars Hugh Jackman and Terrence Howard, who play dads of these two families who the youngest daughters go missing. The film also stars Jake Gyllenhaal, who plays Detective Loki. He thinks it's going to be a fairly easy case. He'll be able to figure it out, no problem. Well, it turns out there's a bunch of twists and turns, and maybe this case isn't as easy to crack as one might think. All the while Detective Loki is trying to find the two girls, the character played by Hugh Jackman, Keller, has taken the law into his own hands, so to speak. And you saw it in the trailer, so I'm not giving anything away. But he kidnaps the man who the police think is responsible for the kidnapping of his daughter and tries to get information out of him brutally. He doesn't do anything special to him, okay? It's not like any weird saw traps or anything. No, he beats this guy to a bloody pulp. And I am not joking when I say that. That's what he is after a while. But the problem is, he can't get the information out of him. He can't pry it out of him because this guy has the IQ of a 10-year-old. And so that aspect of the movie actually is quite interesting. The part that kind of drags a little, and I don't think really needs to be there, is Terrence Howard's character. I know he's the dad of the other little girl that was kidnapped, but he doesn't really play much of a part in this movie. He doesn't really have a whole lot to do. It really is Hugh Jackman's and Jake Gyllenhaal's movie. Now, if you had those two doing their thing, that would have been fine, but occasionally you had to throw Terrence Howard in there as the grieving father and to kind of gain sympathy for the audience. So I can understand how they need that sympathy with Terrence Howard's character to kind of counterbalance Hugh Jackman's character. This movie is pretty intense. And you should also know it's long. It's about 2.5 hours. But the movie doesn't leave you any breathing time. There's about 5 or 10 minutes in the beginning of they're a nice, happy family, and then after those 10 minutes, the girls are gone, and you're off and going. And for me, I was glued to the screen. I really was, because I wanted to see where these girls were. I wanted to see what happened. Because you know that this guy maybe couldn't have done it, and they allude to this in the trailer. He said that boy's never done or has never been in trouble a day in his life. You know, he has a IQ of a 10-year-old, so they're thinking there's no way that this guy could have done this because he doesn't have the brain capacity to do it. But then there's all these little clues that maybe he could have done it because he makes these little remarks to Hugh Jackman here and there, and he's also able to drive a car or to drive a vehicle. And so you're thinking maybe he's smarter than he's actually letting on, and that's what Hugh Jackman thinks. So that's why Hugh Jackman has kidnapped this guy and is trying to beat the information out of him, because he thinks that he's actually just pretending to be crazy. The acting in this movie is great. Of course, it's Hugh Jackman. He's always good. There are some scenes that are really hyper-realistic. It's those scenes where this movie shines. But if you're going to go see this movie, see it for those little moments, those little subtle moments of when the family is talking to each other, or when they're talking to the detective, or at the very beginning when they're having Thanksgiving. It's so real, it's so realistic. Those moments are what keeps pulling you into this movie. So good characters, good story. I would say this is definitely one you want to go check out in theaters. So there you go. There's my review of Prisoners. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Comment below. Also, if you want to follow me on Twitter, find me on Facebook or see more of my reviews, click the links below.